Hi, my name is Daisy Flores, and today I'll be talking about the study me and my group conducted. It is on student sleep and study habits, and how we found that they have no correlation. The first study that we referenced is the importance of sleep and effects on sleep deprivations on college students, which was conducted by the American Academy of Sleep Medicine Association for Sleep Clinicians and Researchers. This study was to prove that good amount of sleep is important for being awake and the alerting of senses connecting to the student's performance, especially their academic performance. People who got less than 6 hours of sleep were interviewed and found that they had horrible moods and low energy, which plays an important role to their academic performance. The interesting finding in the study was that students who got less than 6 hours of sleep had the same amount of energy and performance than someone who had no sleep the night prior. The study found that students who stay up all night to study tend to do poor on exams scheduled for the next day. This study shows the importance of sleep and that the habit of staying up all night to study does not benefit the student. The second study that we referenced is Losing Sleep Over It, Daily Variation in Sleep Quantity and Quality in Canadian Students, which was conducted by Nancy Galambos, Andrea Dalton, and Jennifer Maggs. The study is connecting daily experiences and how it will affect the quality and quantity of sleep that the students receive. Out of 191 participants, 60% were female and 40% were male. The experiment was conducted by students filling out questionnaires for 14 days straight, describing the type of experiences that were encountered throughout the days, and recording the times they went to sleep the night prior and what time they woke up the next morning. Their experiences were consisted of the productivity of them doing their academics and when they encountered anything stressful. What was found was that the amount of sleep was affected by stress and the amount of schoolwork that was given to the student, and the quality of sleep was affected by negative or poor experiences. This study helps us by understanding some of the variables that can play into college students' sleep patterns. The third study that was reflected and connected to our study is Study Strategies and Beliefs about Learning as a Function of Academic Achievement and Achievement Goals. This study researched effective study strategies that will lead to academic success for a student. The experiment was conducted by collecting information about the student's study habit in a biology class that they were enrolled in. What was found was that the student who chose strategies that had to do with disturbed practice and retrieval practice were the ones who performed the best. The study shows what study strategies will benefit the student's academic performance. For our hypothesis, our research question is, are student sleep habits related to their academic performance? And our hypothesis being, student sleep habits are not correlated to their academic performance. Our study was conducted of 177 participants, 64% being female, 35% being male, and 0.6 being non-binary. 45% of our participants were from the ages 16 to 19, 50.6% being 20 to 30, and 3.9% being 40 to 50. Here we asked our participants to report their GPA, and the options given were 0.0 to 4.0 or above. The sample of 177 participants that was recorded is relatively small compared to the amount of students that attend Las Positas College. We were able to collect our participants through the psychology department at Las Positas. Students that were enrolled in psychology courses were able to receive extra credit just for participating in this study. All of the participants completed the student time budgeting and sleep habits survey. The survey included the Epworth Sleepiness Scale. In total, the survey consisted of 37 questions related to sleep and study habits. Our survey consisted of 4 Likert scale questions with a 5-point scale and 1 Likert question with a 4-point scale. We had 2 questions that were scored reversed, which was questions 15 and 16. Our survey was conducted through an online survey database. The participants were able to take the survey in the environment of their choice. All the participants needed just to access the survey was internet through any device such as a laptop, desktop, or cell phone. The dependent variable in the study was the Epworth Sleepiness Scale, the Sleep Habit Score, and Studies Habit Score. The independent variables were sleep habit questions, study habit questions, and gender. The sampling procedure was that our participants are enrolled at Las Positas College, and they had an option to participate in our study for extra credit. The types of analysis is used for the data were score sums, correlation coefficient, and t-test. For the last section of our survey, we included the Epworth Sleepiness Scale questions. Participants were to fill out a series of questions asking about their everyday habits and them dozing off, measuring from 0 to 3. 0 being no chance of dozing off, while 3 being a high chance. After the data was collected, we set values to every answer and calculated 2 scores from each participant, being a sleep habit score and a study habit score. Higher study habit scores could be seen as a good, while higher sleep habit scores were negative. The scores were found and calculated, and we found mean values and standard deviation and found whether or not there was a statistically significant correlation. Before participants were able to participate in the study, they had to read an informed consent that informed them that their responses would remain anonymous and they were able to exit the study at any time. By agreeing to the consent, they were able to continue to the survey. At the end of the survey, the participants were debriefed on the study. We included Dr. Rye's email. If any of the participants had any questions or concerns on how the information will be used, they will be able to contact him. To our calculations, we concluded that sleep habits are not correlated to study habits. Results found was that making a high study score does not mean a high sleep score, nor a low sleep score. The difference between male and female study habit scores are significant. That there is no relationship between the 2 variables, and also there is no relationship between their sleep habit scores. Based on our findings, we found that there is no correlation between students' sleep and study habits. There is statistically significant between male and female study habits as well as their sleep habit scores. The study found that students who had poor sleep quality also had lower GPAs in comparison to students who had a good sleep quality, which will reflect on a higher GPA. The study found that students who have poor sleep quality also had lower GPAs in comparison to students who had good sleep quality. Gilbert and Weaver also found that taking these results suggested that relationship between sleep quality and academic performance may be more robust for female students, yet it is still unclear why. The next study that we referenced is the University Students and the All-Nighter by Pamela Thatcher. We found that the study found that 60% of students and their and have engaged in an SNTSD at least once during their college career, compared to students who denied any engagement. The students who were participating in SNTSD were going to bed on average 40 minutes later than normal, and was statistically significant associated with an evening preference, and also had lower GPAs. Problems that we faced was one being with internal validity. We had none because of the correlation. It is not equal to causation. We faced problems with external validity. That being our sample is not very representative of our school's population. It is a small sample. In order to be more present, we needed this to survey more students. We also faced problems with construct validity, being that we had good construct validity and problems with the statistical validity. That means our data did not support our original hypothesis. And since this is a correlation study, we had no ability to conclude a causal relationship. If we were able to do the study differently, we would add more questions on demographic, so we would have more of an idea of what our sample is like. That way we can have a better understanding and knowing on how diverse the sample is compared to the population of Las Positas College. A factor that could have produced different results is that if we had a large duration to collect data rather than being restricted to a week of collecting data. If we had a semester or longer to be able to collect the data and to conduct the study, we would have produced a different relationship to sleep and study habits and how they may have changed over time, for example, during school breaks. And here we have our references.